Good evening, one and all present here. On behalf of the Coimbatore chapter of Computer Society of India, I invite Professor Dr. V.S. Anitha Sophia, MC member CSI Coimbatore chapter, and Associate Professor Computer Applications at PSG College of Arts and Science to welcome the gathering and introduce the guest speaker. Ma'am.
Good evening, one and all present here. So I take this opportunity to welcome the Secretary CSI Coimbatore chapter and all the office bearers of the Coimbatore chapter. And it is my immense pleasure to introduce the chief guest. So here, Mr. Bharat Kumar, who is a student pursuing in Sri Shakti Institute of Engineering. So during his studies, so he has worked in a team wins system, Bangalore, as a software development engineer. He developed a stack desktop software, built a Google Map based appointment booking system, developed a machine learning powered voice authentication, and he also worked as a freelancer in full stack developer, designed and built responsive web applications, and managed end-to-end development for UI UX design to perform the backend functionality. So he also has additional project works in Modern Connect in 2024. So he developed a dynamic platform allowing the freelancers from various fields to showcase their skills and the services utilized with the help of MERN Stack. He also implemented Decision Tree and Yatra Lights. His project is Yatra Lights in 2023. So he developed a full-fledged e-commerce website for Yatra Lights. So these are the projects during his course of study he has performed, and certain awards and certifications also he has obtained. So he has participated in Google Summer of Code 2025, and he was ranked 14 in national level coding competition organized by Newtown College of Engineering and Technology. He is one of the top 10% of the programmer in lead code context, and rank 3 on national level hackathon on generative AI conducted by KPR College. He also have a certification in data structure and algorithm in Java on Udemy, and machine learning and deep learning specialization on Coursera. So these are the expertise for the resource person, and I think he will be a young and a dynamic person to which is the need of the hour to integrate AI with MERN Stack trends and tools. So I hand over the session to the speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. Now it's time to hear from our guest speaker, Mr. Bharat Kumar.
Thank you, sir. It's great to be here, and I thank the Computer Society of India, Coimbatore chapter, for giving me this great opportunity to present this out here. So, yeah, just diving into my presentation. I hope the screen is visible to each and everyone here. Okay. Now
Yes,
we are going on the. Yeah, thank you. So now we are going on the topic with how to integrate an AI with the MERN Stack things, right? So before starting it out, as every webinar person, as every speaker, they used to introduce themselves in a formal way. There is a better introduction for me given by ma'am over there. That was very cool enough to me, and I'll make it one formal one for you. As I prepared the slide, I don't want to delete it off. Okay. Let us make this webinar to be very in a funny mode and all those things. It's made to be a bit cool and in a very funny mode. Okay. So I'll introduce myself in a very formal way. Hi everyone, I'm Bharat, a second year computer science engineering student studying at Sri Shakti Institute of Engineering and Technology, and founder of Modern Connect, which is a startup focused on making social impacts. Like, Shantanu Naidu had made a startup named Goodfellows, right? It's kind of one. quite inspired from that, but it's the core thing is all different and making some social impact. We have same ideology towards Shantanu Naidu sir and me got the same idea of that making down. And I've been freelancing for over 2 years now. Worked on around 15 plus projects for real clients and wrote the production code once, maybe twice or not. Okay, that's not in the case right now. Let's don't talk it here. Talk about that here. And I also interned as an SDE at Team Insys, which is an Australian originated company. It's located at, it's one of the branches located at Bangalore, Bandakat Road. And where I wrote the actual production code and learned all these stuffs and attended real stand-ups and all those things. And for the past 4 months, I'm going to share one personal thing, which is, very personal thing to me with you all. I've been in a relationship with VSA for around 4 months. It was a very serious relationship where I solved around 450 plus problems over there. It's when I say relationship, we all have an experience on that, right? It's very hard to maintain a relationship for a long time. And I think the relationship between me and the programming side, VSA, I love that. That's going a bit stronger. I think it's long lasting. Let's wait and see the time. And I also won 2 national level hackathons, which is a very fancy way of saying, but I never slept. I didn't sleep for around 36 hours on the whole day, and I pitched it very smartly for making it a startup one. Well, one is for my startup one, and the second is for the KPR one, which ma'am gave an introduction to that. And I have my third on tomorrow. I'm preparing for that as well on meanwhile time, And outside that, I love cooking, most of the men right now used to cook food for their future, that's kind of one. And of course, no other likes my food. That's different case. And I love playing cricket and etc. Doing something a lot, learn books and lot of stuff here. Let me move to the next slide. Here's the agenda for today's session. Introduction to me. Okay, I finished off. I'll never bore you anymore by giving some crazy introduction to that. Okay. And introduction to MERN. Let me, this webinar, I prepared this in a kind of way, I don't want to make it for the very technical person from, working in some companies, startups or anyway, who's very expertise in MERN. They should attend this webinar. Not like that. If you're a student, you don't have any idea of what is MERN and all those things. It is really very good enough to attend the session. I prepared this content to be like that. It is starting from what is full stack from each and every scratch of it and doing some real world projects on that. Introduction to MERN, the first session that we're going through, and mini project where we'll be developing some mini concepts on that, and where to post your ML models and going through the track of ML in AI things. Okay, and the last but not least, we have the big fusion here, whereas AI plus MERN thing. And at the end of the day, we will be having some question Q&A until time. And let's chill at the end of time. Okay, I'll move to the first slide. Okay, explaining what is MERN for that right now. Okay, yeah. First, before hitting what is MERN Stack is all about, let's go with some basic things. What is a full stack thing? I hope the people who here are much experience with that thing, or it's not. It's much better. What is full stack is nothing but a software application that encompasses front end and back end in a single code base. Whereas you'll have a single code base, like you have a cake and then pasting some off side of chocolate cream on that and off side of vanilla cream on the other side. It's kind of one. Chocolate cream, I think back end will be that. I love chocolate on that side. And front end, it's the kind of whitey thing to attract other people. So it's kind of there. So making it on the same code base, that will make the full stack, working from end to end, making from the UI, which is in the front end part, to the service and API calls and all those things end to end. It's called as full stack. In the full stack thing, there is a lot of variations over there. We can say MERN is a full stack one, where we have MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. We could say MERN as a full stack one. MERN instance, MongoDB, Express, Angular. React is a framework, whereas Angular is also another framework. Okay? Node on the next part. So you have lots on the way, and I'm good specialist in MERN, not specialized as a beginner in the intermediate level of one. I'm good at MERN Stack. So the whole session will be looking into MERN Stack. Maybe by the next session, if I get any chance, we'll go with next JS, React. I'm making it now, and next JS and Angular JS by the next few sessions if I get any chance. Okay, and let's start explaining the factors of the MERN Stack. MERN, that stands for the abbreviation of M stands for MongoDB, and E stands for Express, and R stands for React, and N stands for Node. As in the presentation part, we have that MERN Stack blue color one, right? We have the front end part over there, HTML, CSS, and React.js part, which is connected to the backend part, Express, MongoDB, and all those Mongos and all those things, and it's connected to the MongoDB, which is a database at the last part of that. And MongoDB, let me explain each and every term in a very short and crispy way, so that we won't go any theory and book like definitions, all those things. Let's directly dive to some projects and we'll do some real world applications. Okay, that will be much better rather than going in a very theoretical, I think so. And what is MongoDB? Let me explain what is MongoDB. MongoDB is your database. It's a kind of a daily diary you used to note. I used to note some my calendar or all those things, what to do, to-do list for the particular day. Of course, I'm not going to follow it off, but we used to do it right on the notepad. It's a kind of one. It's a NoSQL. You don't want to write any query for making it happen. The query like select star from kind of one, like SQL, MySQL or PostgreSQL. You don't want to make any query to make it happen, make the query executable. And it stores the data in kind of a JSON format, entire web application, it works in BSON and JSON format. We don't want to dive deep into that, what is BSON, binary format of things and JavaScript format of things. Okay, let's just understand the ideology of that. Okay, and next term we have Express. Express is a middleman. You have a traffic cop on your roadside traffic point. You have a traffic cop where they used to say the left side people have to go in that way and the right side people have to go in this particular way, so that the traffic will never get jammed in. Right? It's a kind of one. Express is also do the same thing. Express is a kind of framework to the Node.js for me, and to in a better understanding. Express is a framework to the Node.js, which makes the flow to connect with other applications in a better way. Okay? And Node.js have that I missed up. Yeah, React.js. React.js is one of the cool, stylish front-end thing. To illustrate it better, you have let me say, I'm a hero person. Okay, I'm a hero and I'm acting in a movie. I usually have some touch-up person with me to make me look better in the movies, right? Of course, I'm not looking like a hero. I agree that. But if it is imagination, that's better. Yeah, and that same work is done by the React.js. And Node.js, the next part, next part, yes, the React.js. See, the MERN stack becomes like a full stack one because of the Node.js part. Okay, Node.js handles every backend in and out flows and all those things over there. Okay. Now, I think I have bored you with lots of theories and stuff like that, right? But no worries. We'll go to the project type. Okay, now it's kind of a project way. Let me take my project so that we'll take. In case of any full stack emergency, break a class and have some cup of coffee. I won't bore you enough. Let me share the project slide. I hope this one. Yeah. I prepared a lot of projects today, so I am a bit confused whether this or that. Let me start the server. Sorry for that. This project, it's a kind of a mini project kind of one where we just, make some the authentication parts over there. Every application over here has the authentication part as a first module to work on, right? So it's a kind of one over here. Yeah, that's here. I think the screen is visible for you, right? Come on. Okay. So this project slide, I think it looks much better because I'm being a front-end developer. I need to make some cool stuff on the front-end side to make you attracted to that, right? I used Spline for that background fluffy thing that is running behind it. Spline is a kind of a 3D modeling thing. You can use it. It's free of cost. You can make some remix from whatever things that happen posted on the community part. And I added SSO applications as well here. By logging into it, by creating your account here, that will allow you to make some make the things here. Just I have changed my password. 7890. It's a very crazy password. Wrong data. Let's dump it. Yeah, I'll explain the architecture and the flow here. See, we have some client and server module over here, right? So client, which is since it handles the front end part, and server, it handles the back end part. So to saying up to be a full stack one, it's better to make this kind of an architecture one. There are a lot of architecture patterns over there to build your projects. Like if you are going for any kind of internship or providing, if you're working on any company, they used to make something called as clean architecture format or onion architecture format. Onion is not the one that you feel at night, it's not the one. It's the architecture where we used to program it, it's a kind of one, and I use Redux here. Redux is a kind of, Redux is it is attached to React.js for maintaining the state. Okay, so like for example, if you say, I'm saying I have written a function for this, for example, let me take this. I have written a function register user. For this, I have created a function, and if I am not using a Redux one, I have to write each and every time to check whether whether the user is registered in or not whenever I'm shifting to each and every page. So that must be very fluffy and overwhelming, right? That has to render a lot of ways to go forward. So to avoid that, they introduce the kind of one called as Redux, which is kind of used for state management purpose. Okay. So they used to create some slice where we just use some tongues for that, making some functions, small callback functions over there, and by exploring that, by whole thing we can create it as an extra reducer and applying it to the store.js. We can have this. Whenever we call this auth function, it automatically calls the entire function, that register and all the clusters what we used before, so that you don't have to write it each and every time to check whether the user is authenticated or not. Okay, and on the front end part, here it starts from every MERN Stack project starts from there. Main.jsx file. Okay, main.jsx file is here. Okay, yeah, where I use some routing things and provider things to make the routing very easier way. So routing is since we have this here, right? This one, that's routing. Okay, auth/register, that's the routing part. Okay, so after this, I have this one. It will render automatically render this kind of one. I checked it with auth A and made some lot of pages over here. Yeah. And I don't want to dive very deep into what all things that I've done here to make you feel like, very boring if you didn't understand it. Okay, that's very bad. So, yeah, that's the one over there. And let me explain the server part. Okay. Server part, we have it here. And the backend model will be like this. Let me close all the folders. So it will be much helpful for you. So first, as I said that, right, MongoDB is a kind of language backend purpose. You don't want to make any SQL queries to implement it, right? So you don't have any queries to implement. Okay. So I have created a model files. Okay, model files in sense I have to describe the schema where I on what structure should I store the user's data into the database. This is the schema I wrote it for, where I have the username, email, and MCID. MCID is a kind of project-oriented one. I don't know, and the password and the Google ID and all those things, authentication role, this kind of a data. Okay, where this is the format that will be stored in the MongoDB. So that the data which is entered by the user will automatically store into that format. Okay, and then by the routers format, routers we have auth router. So router is just to make the control of the controllers over here. So this controller, I'll be writing all the functions over here. So the write user function is written here, the register user function is written here, and the login user function is written here, and the Google authentication function is written here, and the logout user function is written here, and the middleware function. See, middleware is used to keep the user on the state. I think you have heard about some keys and application memories, right? Cats kind of one. So this is used to store that one. Okay, I'll be using cookies here. So I'll be clear when log out, I'll just log the it's a kind of save delete one. I'll just delete the cookie over here. And by creating all the functional things here, I'll be controlling it from the router part. Okay, so when I call this / register, I'll be calling the / register user function. When I call the / login function, I'll be calling the login user function. It's a kind of one. Okay. And the main core comes with server.js. Okay. So by allowing the cars, this cars is to allow the data to flow with the other server. I have the MongoDB running on other server, which is like, I don't have the access to the server because it's a cloud one. So that's running on different server. And I'm running my server on this port, 5174. Okay, it's a kind here. So whenever I need to access the data from one server to another server, I need to allow the cars, which is done by using Axios. Okay, maybe you can use Axios or you can use the Axios instance for the better case, And I'm allowing these methods to access from that part. And I'll be calling the router here. So whenever I call that, API /auth / register, it used to call the register user function. When I am calling API /auth / login, it used to call the login user function. And when I was using calling this login, Google login, it used to call the login auth function. Okay, it's a kind in the better. Okay, and moreover, this I have some config files over here, which is the passport.js. Okay, passport.js, what it is used to make, you can use for the SSO module for login one. You can either use Google's manual login scheme, okay, or otherwise you can manually write some schemas so that Google making some Google authentication in a customized way. I used to write it in such a way by creating the passport one and that kind of one. Okay. And storing all the precious key values on the env file. That is very secure way of making a project to be. If you're pushing into GitHub, if you're making it in a public repository, each and everyone could access your URL and authentication client keys and all those things, right? So which is not appreciable. So put all the valuables and personalized things to the env file so that when you're pushing into GitHub, GitHub knows that they won't push the env file. So they won't push it on the repository. Okay. So these are the things that I used here. So it's a kind of very short span authentication module, to make yourself understand what is MERN Stack and how to understand the layer whatever that's done so far. So I think the UI is making some. I love this UI. So back to the presentation part, yeah, the project is over now. Maybe. One thing I want to explain you by just showing a project for another 10 to 15 minutes and explaining what all things that I've done will never make you understand what is MERN Stack. That's not like, taking up a bat for the first day and hitting off century on the next day. It's not the kind of one. You should have to practice a lot for making it. If you're just understanding this, what I have told here, that's just a 10% of what I have done in the whole project. Okay. So going forward, you have to practice a lot of what and how it is working on, and then practice for the next to at least make some mini course of what authentication module in Google or YouTube. So then after that you will be making it better than me. Okay. I got some error on the first part, right, because of that server error. Okay. And to the part over here, as the session is about 45 minutes, let's take a short break because the first talk is over. Okay. Okay. I know it's taking a long traveling path. Okay. Let's take a long break. So because we have been traveling through some boring contents. I agree with that. We have been having some boring contents on that. Let me say, you people used to watch some movies, right? The first half will be a very worst and staying in the same line and a very slow kind of boring one. But the second half will take it to the pits. Okay. I planned the second half to be in a better one. Let me see whether it hits or not. Okay. And if you it's now a short break time. If you have a cup of coffee or tea with side to you, you can have it. But don't show it on the screen. I don't have anything near me rather than the cell phones and tablets and all this. Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, you have a cup of tea, and we'll talk about the AI track. Okay. What the experience that I have on the AI track. Okay. when I was in 12th grade, it's just a small story. Okay, don't look at me like, again, I'm not going to bore you with some stuffy things. Okay, I'll just sorry, to say a short story that happened in my life with the AI track. When I was in my 12th grade, I just had a sudden interest, okay, on the AI part. When the 12th standard came up after the pandemic came, right, for all my age fellows, we people are used to go for the school and sit and do all the observation and record works over there and learning for the public exam. I'm not a kind of a school person. I mostly didn't go for my school. I just used to take some leave and give my medical certificate, taking them to them and retrieving attendance over there. As a kind of person, I never liked to go to school. Okay. I was sitting at home by 12th standard. I think I just gone to the school for just 1 month. And I suddenly have some interest on AI part and just started off with school stuff. When we are in the 12th grade, maybe back to 2022 or 2023, ML algorithms, that was great at the time. That was evolving every part of the world. We thought that AI is going to change things. ML algorithms will be the last of end of the seed. So I started learning that. I suddenly got some interest on that. I started learning the cool stuff like linear regression, k-means clustering, and all those things. And even at certain times, I thought that okay, I'm going to the next Tony Stark. So going to create some AI agents and suits. I'm going to fly to save the earth. I kind of usually wander anywhere in a small age, right? And guess what? Just like every Indian engineering student, I just switched off my path from that. Okay. I switched off from the path to Android and I developed Android apps using Java. And then after that, I switched off to DSA and then side by side learning my MERN Stack things and all those things. Now back to the track. Okay, I'm just crisscrossing all those things, traffic things. Okay, I just crossed every tracks like Delhi's metropolitan cities traffic things. Okay, it's a kind of one. And but now, to be very serious, I thought at the time ML algorithms will take things, But now, after not being any touch with the ML AI part, now after getting to see what is there, I got very shocked. We have LLMs, we have Gen AI, we have a lot of Vertex AI, and now it has been like agentic AI. AI agents are coming up. So there's a big revolution in the path, right? So nowadays, I feel like next year we are going to write the AI thing, breakup text and all those things come out after that, All right, okay. So there's a lot of emerging traces that's going through the AI. The last, NVIDIA's conference, developer conference, they showed a small graph about the AI trends, It started from the Python and it goes from ML algorithms and then goes from the generative AI and goes from LLMs and goes from a lot of stuff over there. And they ended up somewhere in the place called physical AI. I don't know. I didn't understand what they are speaking of. I tried to listen for 2 to 3 times, but I didn't understand what they're going on because I'm not a kind of AI person. I just have a small graph, the track that I showed you right in the screen. That's a small track, right? That's what I have in my life about the AI. Okay? I don't have a long track on the AI part. So kind of one, And I think you all had a cup of tea or short break, right? Shall we move to the next slide? Okay. Okay. On the next part. Okay. Now it's a second half of the movie. I think I'll make it very crisp and in a better way. Okay. Okay. So by entering the webinar, I hope I just feel like people entering into the webinar, seeing the heading, integrating AI with the MERN Stack trends and tools. We are just looking at that, feel like that's a very big thing. That's a very big thing. We don't know how to do it, so that's very hard to do. This person is doing it out. It's not like that. It's a very easy and simple process to integrate AI with the MERN Stack. The first step, what you want to do? Let me explain it from the first step by step. Okay. The first step that what you want to do, that is prepare an ML model. Okay. Either it could be a pre-trained one or that you are making out on customizing yourself. Okay. I used to do sometimes when it's emergency, I used to go with scikit-learn and take the pre-trained model from that. It's kind of one. But at most of the time, when I have time to prepare, I'll be preparing one on my own. Okay. By preparing your ML model, host it on somewhere else, okay? Some cloud platforms, okay? That will give you some link, okay? It's a kind of platform. So host it on the cloud platform so that you will be able to interact with your ML model. Because as in the last section, I told you, right, to interact from, I have hosted a model on this server. But let me say one application is running on this server, okay? Let me say it's 101. And I have another application which is running on the 202, okay? So if I wanted to communicate from 101 to 202, I need some permissions to access that service, right? So it is not easy, like, your neighbors sharing some sambar dappa from each and everyone. It's not like kind of one. You need to get permission to enter their home and to share their data with them, okay? So for this, you need to, for the MERN Stack side, you need to use Axios or course, what I told you right there, right? So it's a kind of that. But here, to host your model on some other cloud platform, you need to deploy it on some cloud platforms, okay? So, or else if you're running it on your own system, you need some specific system qualifications, properties like that, okay? You need some high performing system properties, GPUs and all those things, okay? It's very cost efficient. Remember that, okay? Before that, doing that. Okay. So that we'll go to the cloud platform, which is very easy, of course. Those platforms that I'm showing on the screen, render, Hugging Face, Replicate, and the virtual environment. The last one, that's not a platform. Let me leave this out, okay? The top 3 one. There are many platforms to host, but the 3 ones are the most used by all the developers out there. I said you, right, we have a startup firm, it's called as Norton Connect, right? So it's a kind of a freelancing platform. I'm just connected to around 40 plus freelancer developers, around Coimbatore, level of from various colleges, from NITs and IITs, all the people over there. So mostly the ML developers over there, they used to host their model on the render, which is very easy to go with. And we have some heavy model, then you can host on the Hugging Face. They won't go for the replicate. So I ordered in that kind of way. First you have to use for render and then go for the Hugging Face. You have some heavy model and then go for the replicate model. Okay. And the 4th one, which is very cool stuff. Okay. If you are not an ML person, you are very strong in the code base, what you're doing, like MERN Stack or like me, virtual environment helps you 100%. Okay. I will show that how it is going to work. Okay. That's the most loving factor of mine, because until I didn't learn Gen AI things, okay, I just started to go with LLMs and all those things. Now on the Google part, okay. And let me come to the topic, okay. So interacting with the server to server, you need to get permission, right? So for the permission, you must use some some string things called as API, okay. So application programming interface, the API extends the application programming interface. So this application programming interface access to the one server to one server, so that you can share the data and you can get the data. That's why I mentioned that host is to share the data and get is to get the data from the such server, okay. And the patch and put is nothing but update kind of meaning, okay. And to test that API parts, there's an application called as Postman, okay. So I'm not speaking about the postman that the person used to give you a letter to your post box. Okay, I'm not speaking about that person. I'm speaking about the application, Postman application. Okay, so Postman, when you post your application, you just place your application over there and then click on the what kind of request that you're passing, either it is put or post or get, what kind of request that you're passing, and just click on to that. That will check whether your application is validated or not. Whether you got, in kind words, whether you got permission to get into your neighbor's house or not to deliver the sambar. Okay. It's a kind of one, And then these 3 platforms. I will explain these 3 platforms, and then we'll go for the virtual environment. Okay. And again, I'm saying that I won't go with any theory kind of ones. We'll go with the application part of it. Okay. Let me go for the render one. Okay. Render. Okay. Loading. This is the application of the render one. Okay. So this is my dashboard over here. When you log into this render application, render.com, type on the Google, you will get this application. When you logging into that, and after that you create your own account, and with this account you just go into your dashboard and click on to add new project. Okay. So of course, you're not going to make any static front-end applications over there. You can post your front-end application, what I've done so far for the authentication model, right? I can post it on the static side, okay? but I'm not going to make any front-end application, right? It's kind of a service that I'm going to get from my ML model, right? So I'll go with the ML web service, and by here, I'll get all the GitHub repositories. Those two are from my one of my freelancer from my company. So they just hosted their deduction module and all those things. But by clicking onto this, you'll be getting a lot of other stuff. The language that you're going to choose, whether which branch do you wanted to host it on, and the region where you wanted to go with, and the root directory and all those things over here. And you'll be starting it free with the 0.1 point of CPU, which is very slow. I've told you, right, if you have any heavy model, just don't go with render, go with Hugging Face, so that it has some GPU purpose. But I think it's free for around 30 days or something like that. I don't know the exact date of it. By hosting that, like clicking onto that, when you deploy, when you click onto the deploy web service, it will deploy something. Okay, it will deploy and give you the link for it. Okay, let me show the link for you. It may just don't look at other codes over there. I'll show the I will just show the link what I have used over there. This is the kind of link that you used to get. Okay, http://mortonaa.onrender.com/classify. Classify is a branch that I use, and developer ID, you need to pass the data. So I'm using the get request from that. I'm using Axios. As I told you, right? You have to connect from one server to one server. You need to Axios for that to get the permission. From the one side, I'm using Axios, and I'm passing the get request through this API, and I'm passing this ID to them. Just imagine I'm just giving something to this API. Okay, then from the receiver side, they will be making some the API response as post, right? So they'll be posting some data to me. I'm getting it out. So this is the workflow. They'll be posting something to me, and I'm getting the data back. Okay, this is the kind of work. Okay, I just want to show you the API, but this is how it looks. Okay, and to the next next one here. Sorry, Hugging Face, right? Hugging Face is like it's look like this. Okay, see, Hugging Face, you have a lot. Hugging Face is it's my favorite UI. Okay, so where will be lot of dashboard things available over there. There's a lot of pre-built models available, and you can easily deploy that model with free of cost. It's DeepSeek. Okay, DeepSeek.ai has released their own model over there. Excuse me. So that by clicking onto this deploy application, clicking onto that, we'll start deploying with them. Okay, inference service, inference provider on Azure ML, or they don't have any. I think they don't have any AWS or GCP. They have the Azure ML to hosting there. See, these are the cloud platforms to host your ML model. Okay, so if you have your own one, you can just click onto the model part and create one here, and then post it over there. Okay, so post it, you will be getting something like this. And as usual, and I told you, right, by clicking on to the deploy thing, you will be getting some same as usual. There's no much difference of the link. Okay, so you'll be getting same as like this, but on render is their own. They'll change it to Hugging Face kind of one. Okay, it's like that. So it's very super easy to go with, and Hugging Face is better for hosting a big kind of model. Okay, if you have any big models, so that you can host it here. Okay, and replicate. I'll go with that next part. Okay, let me go with the virtual environment one. Okay, I will show a proper demo on each and everything. And render and Hugging Face, I will give the final demo, which is integrating the model by the API calls and making the application. I'll give the final demo, final project of it as a big one. And then for the virtual environment part, which is my favorite part. Okay, I'll show that particular demo on that. Okay, because yeah, okay, yeah, it's loaded. See, I have this part. Just a minute. It is a kind of, it's a kind of, again, a login module where I use a voice-based authentication system. Now, in a very secure system of way, you used to go through your voice, to share your voice to log in. Okay? Instead of sharing your personal email IDs and username, password, like the kind of one, you have to share your email voice to that, and then then it authenticates you based on the voice and the pitch value that you have. Okay, this application works like you have the going for the registration part, register page. You will be giving your voice for 3 times, maybe 4 times. I think so. I don't know exactly. Yeah, it's 4 times you have here. So fourth, you have the 4 modules. Okay, so you have to test your voice for the 4 different modulations by keeping some one pitch value high and other pitch value very low and other pitch value minute very low and giving some moderate value of it. Okay, so by analyzing all the 4 MP3 files or wave files that I have here, I made the uploads folder and I have the sample S3 file. Okay, so this kind of I'll be storing it here. Okay, so all the user1.wave, user2.wave files, audio files, I'll be analyzing your voice and I'll be storing it to the MongoDB. Okay, and after that, when you're going to the login part, okay, when you're clicking onto the login button by using your voice, voice-based login thing, when you click onto that, it will be asking only one time. Okay, so it'll be recording your voice for the first time with the same words that you used for the registration part. Okay, so it'll be using that, and with that test module file, okay, test module test since you are using the file, the login page, right? So that file and all the 4 users module. By analyzing all those things, I'll be getting some accuracy scores over here. So with that accuracy score, if it is better than 0.9%, okay, which is very low, it should be 1, right? If it is greater than 0.9 or equal to that, I'll be authenticating you into it. Okay, I think if time permits, I'll give a live demo of it. Okay, I'll just stop the server from the other part. It's running there, so it will disturb us. Yeah, that's stopped. Okay. I'll use npm start for it. And for running my Python side, I'll move to API folder and I'll start Python API.py. If some error shows up, just don't mind me. Okay. It's a very old file. Okay. The server is starting on. It's get too late because no, that's not a error. That's a warning. Just don't make things okay. I have here. Let me click on this. I have to go for the login part. And I forgot to say you one more thing, one more key concept. The difference between the white React form and the the normal one is that the time for the rendering of your components. Okay, that's very important. When you are making some MVP or MVP instance, minimum viable product for your main product, for the production level of code, the fastness must be measured. Okay, so I mostly use the white kind of one to create my MERN applications. Okay, this was very old one when I was started learning MERN back in 2023. I did it with the normal React kind of work. Okay, so that's why it is looking it up. Okay. So this is the registration page. Okay, I have all the details over here and I have my record voice. Okay, so let me take the console on so that it will transcribe my voice. Okay, I'll be testing it out. Okay, let me test it out. If some error occurs, just don't mind me. Okay, I'll be coming in front. Sorry for that. Just don't fear it off. Hello, this is for testing purpose. Testing voice recordation. Testing voice recordation. Okay. Yeah, we got that on the line. Okay. It is just stored out here. Okay. I think I'm not able to play it here. So I don't have to play it. Okay. It's very horrible to hear my voice and very close. So it's a kind of one. Okay. So it's like it works like this process. Okay. So this is the virtual environment. Okay. I'll be setting my Python script. Okay. It is not included in any of my React thing. I'll be setting my Python environment in a separate way. I'll be creating my one virtual environment which is running on this port. Okay. So running on 2007, 5000 kind of one. Okay. Which is running on this 5000 port. And I'm running my front-end application over here. Okay. Over on the 3000 port. Okay. So I'll be creating a virtual environment. So integrating the, connecting with the MERN Stack application to a virtual environment is very easy. Like, just have this router path over here. And as usual, I allowed the cores to go with. I used Flash for the framework to integrate with that. And after that, when I click on to, let me go to the login page or audio recorder file. Okay, this is the component that I use to record the voice. Okay, so I have the start recording function. See, this is the API that I used. Okay, so it's kind of 5000 localhost 5000 / API. So just go here. We have this, right? 5000 localhost instance to 127.0.01. That's represent the localhost, and 5000 is the port that I'm running my Python virtual environment. And upload is a function that I used to call here, right? So I hope you remember the API / upload function. I'm just using the method post, okay, so that I'm giving my text file to that, text file to that is getting this a sense, that's getting the post value here, okay, and then by just it will be just storing the post file here into the uploads folder, make directory and store the file and save the path, okay, and print the value over there. This is how it works on the way. Okay, this is the demo for the virtual environment part of integration here. And to the last part, okay, where we have the main AI thing. Okay, this is what I explained with you all about what is what. Okay, the render platform it's a cloud-based thing to deploy your application over the ML models, which is a very lightweight model, and it provides some API for that. And Hugging Face is like massive ML community, okay, where you have the pre-trained models there. I told you, right? It's one of my favorite over there. And you can push some heavy models over there. They will be providing some GPU for the free for a meanwhile time. I don't know the exact number of days that they're giving there, but I don't know exactly. But it's free for some time of it, okay. And the virtual environment, I just showed you a proper demo of it, okay. And see, now just stopping from here, you have learned what is MERN on the other one hand and how to deploy your ML models on the other hand. Okay. Now, what is the final step? It's just to integrate both of them, okay, to make the webinar fulfill. Okay, to make the webinar fulfill, you need to integrate both the plates into it to make some huge work of it. Okay, and again, the last one, we're getting to the final, to the finisher one. Okay, like this project, this is one of my better one. I love this project because it's one of my dream project, because it is a MVP for my startup. Okay, so I made this project for my startup firm. Yeah, why we got the error is that because my server is also running on the 5000. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll go back to this visual thing and I'll start again. Okay, start and going forward to this. Just give me 1 minute. I'll stop this server. Okay, that's fine. And I will start this again. Okay, the server started out and we have the, just a minute. Yeah, it's again a small working demo of the virtual environment thing. Okay, right. Let me go to the console and check for that. See, the last time we faced that small issue, I made it particularly to make you understand, the server is running on 5000 port, right? Which is a different kind of server. And I'm running my, virtual environment Python model on the 5000 port. Okay. So that I'm sending the request to that kind of person where it doesn't accept. So that's showing up some error. Okay. I think I got some red color one. I didn't remember what it is. Okay. Let me start again recording my voice. Okay. Now it start recording my voice right now. And I think I should have come very close to the, don't get scared of. Okay. So it started recording. Okay. Audio file saved successfully. Okay. Here we have the audio file, test user file. Okay. It's a kind of one. This is how it works. Okay. Okay. Again, I don't want to make any mistake. I'll just stop the server of both of them so that it will hit the last project. Okay. So this is the one. This time. Okay. I will start this server and I will start resolve the old logs. Okay. I think it's running. I don't know where it is. Let me start like it. I think it's 7th. Okay. I will click on to this. See, the server started running and give me the message that MongoDB is connected to that. Okay. So it's a kind of one. Again, I use the same authentication module. Okay. I'll be going with my Google kind of one. I'll use this. Continue. Will back to me. Okay. Yeah. Wait a minute. That will load it. Just load it. Okay. So this is what I said. I love this project. It's my kind of one dream one. I'm just preparing it up for making to make a pitch for the startup TN function that's coming the next month. Okay. So here on the goal, I have the envelopes over here. Giving some personalized recommendation messages to you. I also use the Hugging Face model over here for the chat AI chatbot thing, and I also made some ground things for you to enjoy the flow of it. Okay, and going back to the way, and for the profile part, I have this. This is me, okay, the cartoonistic one. Okay, and all the details over here, I'll be filling it. It's a kind of this UI is quite inspired from LeetCode. Okay, just don't complain to them, and I'm taking the UI. This is the event module where we just make the functions for the make some social impact. So I'm just testing it off with my own kind of one. Okay, and the acceleration module where you used to jump from a subscriber to developer and to developer to a contributor. My startup is a kind of one. Okay, so where we just every user comes to be a subscriber, and then after this they used to jump with the developer role and contributor as well. Yeah, for testing the developer, let me go to the straight point. Okay, for testing the developer, I can't allow the user to be a developer or a freelancer into my platform without any experience, right? Without testing them or to keep a small entry of that. Just imagine I'll be getting for the freelancer there are a huge amount of freelancers. Just imagine I'll be getting around thousands of applications day by day. Okay, so it is possible for me to whether check each and everyone's profile and to check whether they are capable of doing or not to become a freelancer or not. Okay, that's very hard, right? So what I made is that I made a application. Okay, so very pop-up where you just click on to the field where I used to be a free where I work on to a freelancer. Okay, I love to be a freelancing at front end and back end part and full stack, and I know React.js, Next.js, and JavaScript. I know TypeScript and Python and PHP, Java, MERN, and React Native, and all those things. And I will be giving some GitHub repo to it. Okay, so GitHub repo such that by giving this GitHub repo, it will test whether these data and this data given over there is matching with this GitHub repo link that you are passing in. Okay, so by passing these values to this, I will be passing the developer ID to the model over here. Okay, what this model used to do is that, which is hosted on the render platform. Okay, what this model used to do is that I'll be passing my developer ID over here. I stored the developer ID in the MongoDB, and I got the developer ID, and I'm passing it over here with the data what the user is filled out on the pop-up module, and the user and the data which I stored in the user purpose, right? Here on the profile part. Okay. I have this data, right? The GitHub purpose, the GitHub modules, and all those things, and the tech stack that I stored here, Python, all those things, right? So by testing it all the way, string matching kind of algorithm over there, by testing it all the way and performing all the matching algorithms, whether he will be suitable to make a freelance project, whether can we trust him, how, like that, and it will respond back to me. With that response, I'll be getting that I'll be allowing the developer, which is the subscriber, to be a developer in my platform. Okay, there is why I use the AI into it. Okay, and I'm going to integrate the chatbot for it. Okay, so whereas in a freelancing field, you necessarily need a person to understand the business logics and all those things to make a product. Okay, so for example, say you have a client, the client doesn't have any technical knowledge, they come up to us just to just they with the need, okay, to make their platform to make some big thing, okay. They come up to us. No, what I used to do is that is I directly go to a company and understand their business projects, what their requirements and all those things, and after that I'm going to do what all, okay. So that's very long process, right? So after that, what we decided to do is that is we created a chatbot system, okay. So chatbot system in sense you just go there and just type something, okay, like I have an idea to create an education website, okay. You just create some message on that. That chatbot will respond to you like, that's great, very huge thing. You are in the right place to make the your product here. We have the suitable developers, and it will automatically suggest the tech stack and the reference website that's already available in the Google and all those things. Okay. For this, we are putting it into the NGORP. Okay. NGORP is another kind of one to make your to host your model. Okay, ML model. Okay, because chatbot needs a lot of communication. Okay, for each and every sentence that I type and submit, it need to go and come. Okay, so for this we use NGORP. Hugging Face is also a good one, but that uses a small trial one, right? So it's for a long purpose. So we used NGORP for the MVP to build it in very smaller form, and that's how the integrating part is working. Okay, so integrating AI with the one is very easy for you to go. Okay. Finally, we control it off. Okay, so that's how it's easy to incorporate AI with kind of one. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and now it's time for the Q&A.
How it is supposed to be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear participants, now it is time for Q&A. And already at the time of registration, we asked for some questions. And the consolidated list will be presented now, so that our speaker will be able to answer those queries. Yeah, here are the questions. Mr. Bharat, you can start answering the questions that are left out in the presentation.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, there are a huge number of questions. It's a kind of you filled up the slide. Let me go by one. Okay. Will white coding lead to layoff? Okay. See, it's a great question. Okay, white coding in sense, you'll be using LLMs to do your work in an easy way, right? So it states that. Okay. So maybe or may not. It depends on the situation where you are. Okay. So, for example, if you say that if you are in a situation, it's the LLMs are just the tool to make your work very easier. When you ask me, it's not the replacement to go with. Okay. So if you are using the LLMs to work on very easy things and do your work and making it very faster than others, okay, maybe that could travel you to some destination, but not to the end. Okay. So of course that could lay off at certain point of time. Okay. If you miss, you will be the dragon. Okay. The next dragon will be the next dragon. He used in the climax up to the climax. He didn't had anything. Right? So it's kind of one. And to explain that in a very brief way, I had a real time example. Okay. I have a friend. Okay. So he's very extrovert person. Let me say that there are two people. Okay. One is an introvert person and one is an extrovert person. The introvert person has a lot of technical knowledge, okay, and the extrovert person has a minimal technical knowledge when compared to the introvert person. That person, uses the white coding method, that uses the LLM and all those things and overcome that and showing his extrovertness to the people or HR over there, getting a lot of chance, okay, and he will be getting to the company as well. But the introvert person with a great knowledge as well, he won't get a chance to get in the company. But after getting into the company, the extrovert person doesn't know how to work on the real world applications. That's the situation they hit that. Okay. At that time, the layoff will happen. Certainly and surely the layoff will happen. And it's a kind of waste system. They won't provide any opportunity to the introvert person as well. They won't use the opportunity vice versa as well. They used to waste the kind of one. So white coding will lead to layoff when it is done in a if you're doing it for a very long time and you're just depending only on that, then for sure. That may happen or someday or may not. I don't know. That depends on the situation where you are from. For me, the LLMs it's a kind of tool, not the replacement. I think that I have answered it often with kind way. And are there any, let's move to the next question. Are there any specific certification or the courses you recommend for the MERN plus AI? You can do any certification courses, for that. But I recommend not to go with any paid kind of courses for that, because don't waste your money on that kind of one. You have everything available for free on YouTube. I learned it from YouTube completely. I just get only one certification from the Udemy kind of one. Okay. That's for my DSA part, where I started off. Okay. That's one. And if you ask me, Udemy has some Harsh Goyal, that person, he has some great lecture on the MERN Stack. Okay, so that's very good. And John Stiff something, the author's name, I don't remember. He's a great lecturer actually. So, or else if you want to go for free code camp is the best platform to go and practice. Okay, so they have lots of email projects and they have lots of stuff to go with. Okay, and does AI in MERN Stack do work with help of RPA? Okay, that's a great question. RPA, if anyone doesn't know what is RPA is the robotic process and automation system. Okay, so let me explain it very deeply. Okay, see, AI plus MERN Stack, that has a system. The MERN Stack, if you have a MERN Stack application, full stack application, you are incorporating AI into that. Okay, what AI will do with that application, that just decide or predict or classify something over there. Okay, that won't automate anything manually. If you're doing something, I have to change from one page to one page. I have to do it manually, not by the AI thing. Okay, if you can do it by AI as well. But for meanwhile, you're including the RPA into it. It's a kind of an automation system. Okay, so RPA used to automate everything. It's a very helpful one. The great idea to incorporate AI plus RPA. AI plus MERN Stack plus RPA is a great combo. I'll try that with my next project. Okay, so I know RPA a bit, but I don't know in very deep. I'll do learn that and I will make it in my next project. Okay, but doing that will make you website look very automated one. I think for this now current situation in the evolution of AI, that's very important to go with that. Okay, and we go with another any important question or some funny question. How AI like in algorithm, how the AI will be implemented on the MERN Stack, like in algorithm format or coding format? It's a great question. See, AI in MERN Stack, that has been implemented like in an algorithm format. Everything in the AI model, that goes with the algorithm. As I said, in my 12th class, I learned the ML algorithms over there. So with that ML algorithms, that is a core base of the agentic AI right now, which is evolving in the AI, right? So with all that, it is a starting from. Every algorithm will go, every AI model will work on the algorithm, and that will be integrated with the API format, what I told you right now. So it's kind of one. Okay, so more likely in the algorithm format, not in the coding format. Coding format is like a hard brush. It also applicable, but the algorithm format is mostly used out the way. And okay, how should a beginner start learning MERN Stack? From where do you need to start it? Okay, it's a great. Okay, so before answering that, Krishna Prasad, I will go with that question. How should a beginner start learning MERN Stack? From where do we need to start? Okay, first understand the core concept of it. Starting from the HTML, CSS, and building some front-end applications. That's where it all started out. Okay, so just start from that and directly dive into the projected ways. Okay, so there are two ways of learning each and everything that in your course systems. Okay, so either you can go by learning all the theory stuff from the start to from the scratch to the end. Okay, by taking some courseworks or from getting to a tuition kind of an online center, or just directly dive into just learn the concept of it and then directly diving into the project. Okay, so then by doing some projects, you'll be understanding what all the concepts that are used there, so that it will be like, it will be easy for you to remember. I used to do the second method each and every time, and it's a very fast and very scalable method of learning. according to me, it suits me a lot, for very short time. If I have very short time to prepare for a next kind of one, I used to jump to a project on the YouTube for that, and then I will just learn what are things that I used to go with, and then after that, just preparing some things. If I don't know what they are speaking of, let's say, if I directly diving into a React.js project, they are speaking about what is a component, what is browse router over there. I don't know about it. What I used to do is that I would directly dive to the documentation part. Use documentation wisely. Okay, go to the React documentation and learn what is browse routers and what is mean by routing and all the concepts for a bit of minute, and then come back again to the project. Okay, and then work on it. So which means, you learn side by side, you will learn the better ones, concepts, as well as you'll be doing some project. By the end of the day, you'll be learning something and you'll be building something, build some project. Okay. So start from the HTML, CSS, build some front-end application, build some classy front-end application, and then go forward, go with React.js, React.js alone, okay, not with the MongoDB Express and all of it. So go and learn React.js alone, which there's a lot of plenty courses on YouTube available for free. Make some portfolio with React.js, and then practice by it, and then go forward to integrate with MongoDB. Directly you can dive into it, and then learn what is Express side by side, what is Node side by side. If you take time to learn what is Express and Node for a long time, I think it takes around 6 to 7 months for me to complete. Okay, you have a full course on the Udemy for John person. Okay, so you can even take it up, but I think it's very long, lengthy thing. Just dive into the project, keep your track very clean and very fast, okay, so that you can reach your proper destination. And how did you learn this, and what is the key to your success? I think this question you need to ask to a successful person. Okay, I'm not that kind of a very successful person. We are all in the same line, right? We are all still struggling to learn things and implement into a real world project. Okay? But what made me different, it's a positive impact that I had on something. As I told you, right, to be very, as I told you the last story, right, the introvert and extrovert. I'm the pro max introvert of myself. I won't attend any social gatherings. I won't speak in public. Even there's a crew of people over there, I won't go near to them. I know that's kind of pro max introvert. Okay, so but being from that, I changed myself a lot to evolve in this current situation, and learned a lot of this. Okay, to get it, sorry, what is the key? No, the key to me is the experience that I had with that. I think I failed more times than you tried. I think so, because I failed a lot of times applying to any applications and all those. With that, all the experience in the last few years, I got this knowledge to be very patient and very calm enough to handle the pressurized situation. I think that's the most important thing. In a pressurized situation, you need to behave in take a proper decision, and to be very cool enough to show your full 100% of work on that. And to the real example, I had this presentation. I didn't prepare anything in the morning. From morning, I started preparing on it. So I was in a very pressurized situation because I have the hackathon the next day. I need to prepare before that. I need to prepare project for that. It's a kind of one. But keeping yourself very cool and calm, that will make you make some productive works in a very easy way. I kept myself very cool so that I made the presentation, which was good for me. I don't know whether it's good for you all. You maybe feel something boring about it. I don't know. But I did my best. The kind of one. Just trust the process that you're going through, and feel free to just go on the way and be on the line. Okay, just don't give up on what you think that happens. Okay? And stay against all the odds who are against you. Okay? Be the only one person. Okay? And how AI, to the next question, how AI will be useful for the industry 4.0? That's a great question, man. As I said, on the last NVIDIA's AI conference, developer conference, they explained it very briefly, but I didn't understand anything in a very proper way. But I got a grasp on that. AI is evolving in a very lot and more. If you say I'm a full MERN Stack developer, maybe back of future of 2 years ago, 2 years after, they won't judge you. Okay? They won't give priorities to you. because AI will be taking over everything. So it's better to do everything, manually, integrating AI things into it. So that's why I took the topic as well and learn these NAI things as soon as possible for you right now. Start from GenAI. I think that's a better, smart way to go. Start from GenAI, learn LLM side by side, what are the LLMs available over there, and then go with the flow. Okay. There are a lot of things other than that, right? I don't know what flows it goes out, but there are many improving things. Useful for industry 4.0, it's much useful because the only thing that will be existing at industry 4 is that AI. Okay. That will be existing over there. No MERN Stack developers, no full stack developers. It will all be like, we used to be adapting to the situation over there. Okay. Options for hands-on experience and debugging. Hands-on experience, I think you need to go for the project works. And debugging part, if you work on any startup, you're getting a lot of debugging kind of. Yeah. Because when I work on the startup part, I got a lot of experience for debugging the things over here.
Yeah, let me move on to the next slide, Mr. Bharat. There also we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
And most of the things you have already answered. So a brief or a very short information will be more useful.
Okay, sir. So how to be skilled in a particular field or programming language? I think both is must in the current situation. You should be very skilled enough in programming language, which is the entry level thing. If you're going to attend any interview, they'll be asking you the DSA on the first round itself. Okay. I think that's very important for you to stay alive on that platform. And particular field, that's about your loved ones. Okay. If you love doing something, you never mind it of how it's going on. Okay. So choose a path that you love so much of doing and focus more on that. That will be becoming your main field. Okay, like what I have now on MERN Stack and DSA. That's a field that I'm going to. Okay, and how to become a web developer and motivate us to learn, self-learn to self-learn to. To become a web developer, that's through what I said you right. Start from the HTML, CSS, and kind of front-end works, front-end part of works, and then go forward to React, and go forward, then move with the MERN Stack, complete MERN Stack, and learn side by side with documentation. That's the best way and fastest way, and even more scalable one as well. You can go with that, and motivate us. I think motivating you will keep you work for around maybe 2 to 3 days. Okay, after that you lose your motivation because you have your situation in a very bad way, or surrounding maybe is different, okay, according to you. But keep your consistency, okay? So be on the consistent platform. So if you are very consistent on the way that you're going through, then it's much more great. You can stay on the line a lot more. Okay? And let me move to the last question. I think we're running out of time. A role AI plays when integrating. What role AI plays when integrating with MERN Stack and how it gets. As I told you, right? MERN Stack. If you say I'm a MERN Stack developer in the future, 2 years ago, 2 years in the future, they won't judge you. They won't give an opportunity to you. So I think start learning AI right now. That's the big advice that I got from my seniors, colleagues as well. And the role that is AI is using in MERN Stack, that used to detect, predict, and analyze the efforts that you're going through and the data that over there. You can use any kind of work. You can use analytics kind of way, analytics model to analyze the graph boards, dashboards, and all those things. Yeah. So
there is a question about methods to find out problems for PhD. And for this, from our side, very soon we'll be providing you an answer. Basically, research problem identification is a process that needs to be done very meticulously. And soon you can expect a research conclave session that will be done physically in our office in Coimbatore. Thank you very much, Mr. Bharat Kumar. We had a very elaborate discussion on the Q&A also. And if any participants have questions that can be asked now, otherwise we'll move on to the next segment. There are no questions. Now we'll move on to the next segment of today's session. That is the announcements part. And now I invite our secretary, Dr. E.K. Girisan to make announcements about the upcoming events of the chapter. Sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Marasan sir. Good evening to one and all. Today's session was quite well handled by Mr. Bharat Kumar. Before the vote of thanks, I will give the announcements. And I think all of you know that the CSI is organizing events for the benefit of the month. We have two compulsory webinars, that is on the first Wednesday and the last Wednesday of every month. One is from the subject matter expert and one is from the student entrepreneur like Mr. Bharat. And in the month of May, we have planned our Marasan sir. We have also planning for a research conclave in which it will be benefiting the faculty members doing the research in computer science field. And that is also queued up in the next coming months, the May and June. And these are the things which we have planned for the upcoming months. And we are also collaborating with the Region 7 and conducting events in association with IEEE and ACM chapters across Tamil Nadu. Those are also our future events. And I wish every participant to be an active member and also participate in all the events that are organized by CSI Coimbatore chapter. These are the announcements as of now.
Sir, now we invite you to propose.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. On behalf of the Computer Society of India, Coimbatore chapter, I am here to propose the vote of thanks for today's webinar on integrating AI with MERN Stack, the tools and trends, which was conducted by Mr. Bharat Kumar, the second year BE student from Sri Sakti Institute of Engineering and Technology. The webinar was very much useful to the participants by Mr. Bharat explaining on how to integrate the MERN Stack and deploy it in machine learning. CSI Coimbatore chapter extend our gratitude and is always thankful to you, Mr. Bharat, for taking your valuable time and accepting our invitation to deliver today's webinar. Your explanation was elaborative. Your question and answer was also elaborative. You have been showing your live examples, which has given us more information on the day's topic. I also take this opportunity to thank the 52 active participants who included professors, industry persons, and students who had spent their time in attending our webinar. We always expect your earnest participation in all our future endeavors. Thank you, and thanks to those who raised the questions as well, both in online mode, and it was well answered by Mr. Bharat Kumar. My thanks to our office admin staff, Mr. Durvesh, for rendering his coordination, Dr. K.S. Maharasan, Treasurer of CSI Coimbatore, for moderating this webinar, Management Committee member, Dr. Anita Sophia, for the welcome address and guest introduction. Computer Society of India, Coimbatore chapter, will always be there in the forefront in disseminating the information for the welfare of society, giving thrust to the IT professionals for the latest technological updates. Once again, I thank you all and a very good night to each one of you. See you all in our next event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, the feedback link is already posted in the chat window. Please make use of it to submit your feedback. And as a part of the announcement, one more thing we would like to share. That is the CSI chapter's Coimbatore office has got a full-fledged facility that can be utilized for multiple professional events, for which a fully furnished hall and a boardroom is available on rental basis. You can the same can be used for conducting board meetings or seminars, training programs, and a lot of other professional events, including student competitions or for technical poster presentations, project reviews, and so on. Anybody interested can contact our office for more details. Thank you very much.